Hi, everyone. Welcome to Kiki and Kibitz. It's Mary, and I'm here with this week's edition of 90 Days and 900 Seconds, The Other Way, Season 4, Episode 11. Tongue has no bone, but cuts deep. That's really profound. Almost too profound to be an episode title of 90 Day Fiancé. But that's another story for another time. If I was going to give this episode a grade, I would give it a solid B. So let's set 900 seconds on the timer and hop right in. So first of all, I'm going to whip out my Peacock fan because we're going to start with Miss Debbie. Osama is large and in charge, guys. He is large and in charge. He is stuffing those suitcases in the car because they are headed to Kimisat, his home. They are going home to meet the parents. Oh my goodness. Debbie is nervous. She is so nervous, mainly about what his parents are going to think about her. The age difference. My goodness. So he reassures her that his family won't care about the age difference. They know that he loves her, and that's all that matters. Okay. One thing though, there is one major thing. His family doesn't know that she's here permanently. And she's like, Osama, you got to be kidding me. I'm here with a car full of suitcases. How are your parents not going to know that I'm here permanently? And he's like, well, you're going to tell them. So they get there. And Debbie's just like, somebody put a bag over my head. I'm so nervous. Hide me behind my Peacock fan. I am so nervous. They get in the house and they greet her so warmly. Okay. His sister gives her a hug. Mom gives her a kiss. Dad gives her a hug, and they're all sitting there. They're having tea. Dad pours the tea. Oh my God, gives like a show pouring the tea. Okay. Mom was side-eyeing Debbie. Mom did not say anything throughout the whole conversation. Sister and dad were doing most of the talking. And mom was doing a lot of side-eyeing. I'm going to say that. So Debbie asked, how does dad feel? No, how, does mom and dad feel about the age difference? And dad says that he believes basically age is just a number. As long as they get along, that's all that matters. And then Debbie asks dad, mom and dad, how old are you guys, if you don't mind me asking? And guess what? Dad is older than Debbie. Made her feel a whole lot better. Dad is 68. Okay, dad is 68. He's a whole year older than Debbie. So she still has to break the news that she's moving there for good. Okay, so at the end of the segment, which they don't give them enough airtime, I'm going to say this right now, and I'm going to point my Peacock fan at the camera as I say this. Miss Debbie does not get enough airtime, and it really upsets me. I believe she deserves a lot more airtime than some of these fools have. So anyway, as we leave off with their segment, Miss Debbie is feeling hopeful, but she's still a little worried that she has to break the news to Osama's family. And we see next week, which I'm going to get into a little bit later. Things are going to turn, and it's not going to turn. They're not turning out well. So I'm going to explain that a little more. So now we're going to move on to Rishi and Jen, and I need my Peacock fan just to cool me off to talk about this, because Rishi is such a gaslighter and Jen is an idiot. I'm sorry. So I'm going to put my fan down. And okay, where we start off, Jen is still confronting him about the pick. Okay, they're at the spa. Jen's confronting him about the pick, and he's insisting that it's a stock pick. It's a pick that he sends everyone, kind of like Williams with Yolanda when her daughter, did the reverse pick search and realized that it was just like a stock pick that you find on Google. Well, that was the pic that he sent to Randy. It's just a stock pic. It wasn't, it didn't mean anything. It's no big deal. So he's basically trying to gaslight Jen into just, it was no big deal. It was just a gut reaction. He just sent the stock pic to Randy, and he didn't make plans to meet up with her or anything, because at this point, Jen had told him about her friends, and he realized who she was, and he blocked her, cut her off right there. So he basically gaslighted his way out of this whole conversation, and Jen swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. But her friends, Randy and Myra, are coming to India, and they are coming to meet Rishi face to face. So they arrive, they get there on the train. They've been traveling for 3 days, and it is sensory overload for them. They are just like, oh my God, we are not in America anymore. Okay. So first of all, they get on the little tut-tut thing, and they're like, oh my God, this is like so crazy. There's so much noise. There's so much traffic. What did they do with the trash? And then a bus is passing by, and basically somebody leans out the window and vomits, and it lands on Myra's dress, like splashes her. And Randy's Jen is like, I thought you were going to tell me somebody exposed themselves to you. And Myra's like, at this point, I'd rather somebody expose themselves to me. I just got vomited on. And this is all before they get to the apartment. So they get to the apartment, they go upstairs, and they have some girl time on the roof. So their girl time on the roof, Jen lets them know that she hasn't given up the milk yet because Rishi hasn't bought the cow. And they're like, how long are you going to hold out, Jen? Like, realistically, how long are you going to hold out? Then she let them know. Oh, by the way, I forgot this. Back at the spa, Rishi let her know that according to his astrologer friend, that they had to wait another 2 months to let his parents know about her. Yes, that's right. Excuse me. So Jen is telling her friends about this. And her friends are looking at her like, are you fucking kidding me? His astrologer told him that he has to wait another 2 months. And she's like, yeah, basically. Okay, so they meet Rishi at the temple. Oh no, I'm sorry. Before they meet Rishi at the temple, Randy asks her, did you confront him about the picture? And she's like, yeah, I thought she was pulling my leg. I thought it was a practical joke, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, this is bullshit. Whatever. We can't wait to meet him because we're going to rip him apart. So then they meet him at the temple. Okay. Great place to meet him because he knows that they weren't going to rip him apart at the temple. Okay. So they want to feel out Rishi because, they don't want to waste her time. They don't want to waste their time. They're going to come to India and they're going to do all the sightseeing. They don't want to waste their time on Rishi if he's going to be a waste of time. So Rishi feels weird, meeting Randy for the first time because of their social interaction, of their interaction on social media, excuse me. But he didn't feel that weird, in my opinion, because when he saw her, he grabbed her in a big hug. So they're sitting there, they're conversating. And Rishi happens to mention about, no, first they talk about the picture. And Randy's like, you were trying to hook up with me. And he's like, no, I knew you were catfishing me. And he basically tried to gaslight himself out of the whole situation. Then they ask him about his parents trying to set him up. And this is where he started not making sense at all. So remember, he told Jen that his parents just started, looking for someone. Then it's been the whole time. He's not making sense. He just back talks. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's already married, like Submit was. His family dragged him off and he got married during the 2 years that he was apart from Jen, and he's already married. I would not be surprised. So his story keeps changing. First, it was only one person. Then it was 2 to 3 people. Then he's like, but Jen, I rejected them. That's all that matters. And Jen is like, no, you didn't tell me about this. I had no idea that it got this far, that they presented multiple, prospects to you. And he's like, but I rejected them. That's all that matters. And Jen was just very upset, and she got up and she left the table. And she left her friends there with Rishi. And Rishi turned to her friends very, very awkwardly and said, so how is the food? Is it spicy enough for you? I mean, it's just like, what the fuck? So Jen doesn't understand Jen doesn't understand the timeline. Only Rishi understands the timeline. All I have to say is pathological liar. Okay? Pathological liar. So, moving on. We have Danielle and Johan. Oh my goodness. Okay. Today is Johan's birthday. So Danielle decides kicking around a coconut coated in eggshells is going to bring peace and tranquility to her household. So at first, Johan is sitting there looking at her like she's lost her ever motherfucking mind. Then Johan decides to join her. Mainly, I believe, and like my mother-in-law believes, because he decided kicking a coconut was better than kicking her in the head. So he's, joining her, amusing her by kicking the coconut around the house. Then they go outside, they break the coconut, and it's supposed to, expel all of bad energy, bad spirits, blah, blah, blah. He says, I support my wife's religion just because I don't believe in it. I support it. Like I said, I think he decided to kick the coconut instead of kicking her in the head. So anyway, she's going to go to the bakery and she's going to, get this cake because she put together a special birthday celebration for Johan. All of his family, all of 25 of his family members are going to be there, and she did it, and she wants to get this cake. So in typical American Karen style, because she was acting like a Karen in the bakery, she shows up in this Dominican bakery, and like she basically demands like this custom cake, and the guy's like, the baker's already gone, I can't help you. And no, I can't let you write anything on it. No, it's just against store policy. Sorry, miss. And she's like, you don't understand. I need a special cake for my husband's birthday. And the guy's looking at her like, honestly, I don't give a fuck. But he gave in because the cameras were there. He gave Danielle the little icing thing, and she wrote happy birthday around on the cardboard thing that was holding the cake. Not even actually on the cake, but on the cardboard thing that was holding the cake. So she got him the special cake. And they arrive at the restaurant, at the place, at the venue. And Johan's totally surprised. He's like, wow. And he feels really great. This is the first birthday he's been able to celebrate with all of his family members in one place. And he feels really great. So he gives a speech and he says, I want to thank God. And, but he didn't thank Danielle in his speech. So his father said, and you should thank your wife as well. And he didn't say anything. Now, you know something? Maybe he should have said, and I thank my wife for putting this all together. But as we learn, he was still pissed off at his wife because of the argument they had the day before of her wanting to see her ex. And you know something? I'm Team Johan on this one. So Danielle is upset. She gets up, she leaves the table, she walks outside, she expresses her feelings, how she feels unappreciative, that she put all this stuff together for him, and he couldn't say thank you to her in his thank you speech. So Johan comes outside and he's like, is everything okay? And she's like, honestly, no. And she tells him, because you don't have gratitude. And she proceeds in what I take as a very condescending, lectury tone to explain to him why he doesn't have gratitude. And he looks at her and proceeds to rip her and says, oh, really? I don't have gratitude? you ruined the day before my birthday by telling me that you wanted to hang out with your ex. How do you think that made me feel, Danielle? You're always talking about your feelings and how I make you feel. How do you think that made me feel? The day before my birthday, you make me feel like shit. And now I'm here. He didn't say this, but his reaction after she left spoke volumes. I'm here. My family's here. Let me enjoy myself on my birthday and put your feelings on the shelf for a second, okay? But he just basically was like, listen, you ruined my the day before my birthday. So, hey, she left. He went back and he celebrated his birthday with his family. And she doesn't know what she's going to do. And she needs to figure out what she wants to do because she doesn't know if this life is for her. Spoiler, she's still in the DR. So moving on to Gabe and Isabel. Unfortunately, it is too good to be true. He's running into technical difficulties getting married now because he doesn't have his original birth certificate. Because apparently when he applied for his passport in the US and he provided all of his transitional documents, they got lost. And this was 10 years ago. He was young and stupid, and he just didn't care enough to track them down. And now it's coming back to bite him in the ass. So guess what? He has to go back to the States to get an amended birth certificate. And if he doesn't do it within the next week or so, he's going to have to wait 6 months before he could come back into Colombia. And even if he does do it in the next week or so, there's no guarantee he could get back into Colombia because it might look suspicious on his visa, him coming, going out and coming back in such a short period of time. So either way, it's kind of up in the air. And Isabel is really, really upset. She cannot believe that he let something like so important as this fall through the cracks. And I get her frustration. I do. But I also get Gabe's side. 10 years ago, he was young and irresponsible, but also he should have taken care of it. But, he said in the United States, we hardly use a birth certificate. Not true. There's many times you do need your birth certificate in the United States, Gabe. So you should have had the transitional documents all lined up. Just saying. I get Isabel's frustration. He gets back on the plane. Isabel's crying. And that's where we leave them. So yes, it was too good to be true. More to come. Oh, one more thing about Gabe and Isabel before I forget. Gabe has not told his mother or sister about the engagement. That's another thing. He says so much has been going on in such a short period of time. You didn't have time to pick up the phone or send a text to your mom? I don't know. And that's another reason why I get Isabel's frustrated and worried. She's also worried that maybe his family is going to influence him not to come back. I get Isabel at this moment. I get her. That's all I'm saying. So now moving on to our last couple of the night, like Kris and Jeymni. Okay, so now listen to this shite. Kris, who was so pain-stricken and bedridden for the whole time, practically the whole time she was in Colombia, is now 3 months in the United States doing all sorts of odd jobs to send money home to Jeymni, who had quit her job when Kris was in Colombia because her boss had called her and told her, you need to come back to work. And Kris had told Jeymni she could quit her job if she wanted to. So Jeymni did, because let me tell you, if my partner told me, if I was working and my partner told me, listen, I got this, you could quit your job if you want to. And honestly, I believe they got it. I would quit my job for a bit. I would always have a plan B though. See, that was Jeymni's problem. She didn't have a plan B. She really depended on Kris. You never not have a plan B. Just saying. So anyway, Kris is back in the States, 3 months, doing odd jobs to send money home to Jeymni, not answering her phone. And Jeymni has COVID again for the second time. And Kris would fly there, but Jeymni has COVID. And, she has to send the money. She's working hard all the time. And Jeymni doesn't understand, why doesn't she just answer her calls? Well, I don't have my phone strapped to my face. I'm working. I'm painting. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. It's like, girl, when you were in Colombia, you were bedridden. The doctor had to come and give you a shot. So you're back in the States. You got your narcolepsy meds, your pain meds. Everything is back in line. You're looking a lot healthier. You could do your fairy dances again. If you were so pain-stricken, practically bedridden in Colombia, why aren't you receiving disability in the States? Why are you working hard jobs, odd manual labor jobs to make ends meet? Girl, apply for disability. Just saying. And I call bullshit. Just saying. So Kris and Jeymni get into an argument. Kris walks away from the Zoom phone call, doesn't even hang up. Jeymni says this happens all the time, and she believes it's just Kris not wanting to come back. So we shall see. There was no sweetie, sweetie, honey pie, sweetie, sweetie, honey pie this week. But in the preview of next week, we see Nicole telling her sweetie honey pie that she wants to leave Egypt. So that is going to be interesting. Also, next week, Kris thinks that she's a sugar mama, while Jeymni's friends are telling her that they would have cut off the bullshit a long time ago. Jen and her friends decide that they're going to take it upon themselves to tell Rishi's family. That's going to be interesting. I want to see that shit. And Osama tells Debbie, and I need my fan for this again, either we come to the US or that's it. Game's over. You get me a visa or game's over. Oh, my goodness. Then they showed, guys, check this out. They showed a little tell-all preview clip, like 2 little commercials. Okay, first of all, Gabe does not like Kris. Gabe is like, she's shady, she's jumpy, she's like a junkie. Basically, Gabe calls her a junkie. It is so fucking funny. Then Mahoon, oh my God, Mahoon is so hot-tempered. He's basically fighting with everybody. And they show Nicole backstage on the phone, basically begging him to come back. He like ripped off his mic. He was like, I'm done. And storms off. I need my fan again. Julian, Debbie's son, comes on stage and basically threatens Osama. Intense. And Jeymni, talking about intense, is in, the monitor thingy, because, she's calling it on Zoom or whatever. And she's like, I have proof that Kris had sex with her ex. I have pictures and screenshots and everything. Oh my goodness. That's all I have to say. So we're coming to the end of the season. And I believe we have 3 more episodes left or so. I think we're going to go to about episode 14 before we get to the tell-all. The tell-all said coming in May. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching me. Please subscribe if you don't already. Please hit that like button and share my video with a friend or 10. Thank you so much and see you next time. Bye.